ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pittman's Pit for my WWE Smackdown Live 900 review. This was the 900th episode of WWE Smackdown Live and the final Smackdown before this Sunday's Survivor Series pay-per-view. And honestly, now this was a way to send the fans home happy and build up to Survivor Series. This was a way to celebrate the SmackDown history. This was a way to celebrate every moment and every superstar who has paved the way for SmackDown to become the brand that it is. This was a night that showed in a lot of ways what pro wrestling used to be and what pro wrestling still can be and what makes it great. It started off with one hell of a match. It was Dolph Ziggler defending the Intercontinental Championship versus The Miz with his wife Maurice at his side. This was one hell of a match, I already said, but I need to reiterate it. This was incredible. These guys were changing hold after hold after hold, reversal after reversal, counter after counter. They were throwing everything and the kitchen sink at each other. There was this one really cool spot where freaking Miz went for the skull crushing finale and Ziggler got out of it, almost super kicked the Miz's head off, but he dodged. And then there was this other really awesome spot where the freaking Miz, he bounced off the ropes and damn near big booted freaking Dolph Ziggler's head off. It was insane. We saw the Famouser. We saw freaking zigzags. We saw the skull crushing finale. Near fall after near fall, close calls, left and right, interference by the Spirit Squad, which I don't think they needed, but the heck with it, it heightened the drama, I'm good with it. Then, it got down to the wire. Miz has Dolph Ziggler in the figure 4 leg lock. Ziggler barely gets to the ropes. He's grabbing the ropes, and he just manages to roll the Miz up for a pin, and then the Miz's wife Maurice freaking just barely manages to sneak in a little push that changed the weight so that now it was the Miz rolling up Ziggler to the 1, 2, and the 3. And now the Miz is I can't believe I'm going to say this, 6-time Intercontinental Champion and will be defending said Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series this Sunday against Raw's Sami Zayn. Honestly, this was the best match of the night. Not to say that everything was completely downhill from here, because there was still a lot of great moments and great segments after this. But as far as in-ring work, this was the pinnacle. This was exactly how you needed to start this night, with some great in-ring mid-card talent, just duking it out, throwing everything on the line, laying their hearts in the ring, and just bearing everything. They went to town in this match. They laid it all out, and the fans thanked them for it. The Miz is a great talent. I really think he's completely underrated. I mean, we always talk about how good Dolph Ziggler is, and yeah, I might not quite see it, but I can sort of understand why people like his style and like his in-ring work and can see this big star. But I think we really need to look at The Miz and everything he does. and start really thinking about how damn good is this guy. This is like Mr. Perfect Jake Roberts kind of good. This is like freaking, back in the day you had Eddie Guerrero that good in the ring. And as far as charisma, this is like Jericho good. This is like The Rock good. He is literally one of the best talkers and one of the most underrated in-ring performers in the history of the business. So, congratulations to The Miz, new Intercontinental Champion, and he will be facing Sami Zayn at Survivor Series in what I think is going to be an incredible match that I'm really looking forward to. Now that The Miz has the championship, now I'm looking forward to the Intercontinental Championship match. Before, not so much. But now, I'm in. Now, sign me up, take my money. I'm in. Next after that, you had a Cruiserweight division showcase where Kalisto, who will be facing Brian Kendrick for the Cruiserweight Championship at Survivor Series, faced off against a man by the name of Oni Lorcan. I don't know what the name is about, but the fans seem really behind him. And it was kind of weird because it was clearly Kalisto who they were trying to spotlight. He does this really cool spot where he counters an attempt at offense by Lorcan into his finisher, which is like a backflip neckbreaker. He calls it the Salida del Sol. He countered a attempt at offense by Oni Lorcan into that move. It was really sweet. And the fans actually, it panned to him, like the camera panned to him, and I was very surprised. There were some that were doing his, his lucha chant, where he'll point his fingers into the air and go, lucha, 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 like that. But there were some people doing that, but, like, everybody else was just staring, and they seemed upset that Kalisto won, which they're trying to build him up to go after the Cruiserweight Championship. What did you expect? They really seem to like Oni Lorcan because of his ruffian, style that he has. He's this smash mouth, in-your-face brawler is what Oni Lorcan is. Plus, he's in NXT, which a lot of hardcore fans seem to really gravitate towards NXT for good reason. So, I guess that kind of played into it too. Then again, Kalisto used to be in NXT as part of the Lucha Dragons with Sin Cara. So, I don't really understand why the fans just seem to not be buying into Kalisto. But it's definitely something that, if it persists, the WWE management is going to need to find a way to address this. They're going to need to find a way to fix this. Because Kalisto is a great talent. He could be your next Rey Mysterio. He could be your next Eddie Guerrero. Like, you need somebody like him on your roster. And you need to make sure that you treat him well. And that you make sure the fans are behind him. So, if it persists, they need to find a way to get people back on the same page with Kalisto. If not, he's pretty much screwed. Next up, after that, was a women's match where Nikki Bella faced Carmella. Now, this was supposedly the finale of, supposed to be the finale of the rivalry between Carmella and Nikki Bella. They've been feuding for a couple of months now, where Carmella kept attacking Nikki, but it was basically because she thinks that Nikki has been riding her boyfriend John Cena's coattails, and basically he's the only reason that she's successful. And she also said something about him, that they've been hiding it, which they post on Instagram and other social medias all the time. They are on 2 reality shows together, and they tweet about each other all the time and post pictures, and like, just because they don't talk on camera, like when they're on wrestling shows, they haven't exactly been hiding it at all. I mean, Total Bellas, Total Divas, 2 reality shows that are both freaking on. How much more in your face can you be about this? How much more, hey, this is a thing, can you be? Like, they don't really need to say it on Raw or on SmackDown. The fans know. The fact that Nikki has started doing John Cena's finisher, the STF, as a submission hold now, well, the fact that he started doing that, that says enough. Like, you need to back up a little bit with this whole, oh, they're hiding it. Like, that just, there's heel heat, there's being mean for the sake of, making the fans want to boo you, and then just saying things that don't really make any sense logically. And this whole they're hiding it thing was, it was part of this doesn't make sense logically. Like, they're on to reality shows, they post on social media left and freaking right. How much more open and obvious do you want them to be? Do you want them to just start accompany each other next time they're in the ring? Like, next time one of them has a match, the other one comes out with them? They haven't been doing that, but might as well at this point. So, that's my only gripe. Other than that, I love the feud, because you've got this snarky, and I hate using this word, but let's face it, bitchy heel, that is just, he's being a total witch when it comes to the way he's treating Nikki, just coming and beating her up and beating her up and beating her up left and right, interrupting her matches, and it boiled over to a point that now they're going to have this match. They've had a few matches at pay-per-views, and now they're going to have this one to supposedly settle the score. So, the match, it was overall pretty good, but it ended up getting interrupted when Charlotte, the Raw Women's Champion, came out, and she was in the crowd. She sat down, she showed a ticket, and the crowd started booing because, well, everybody boos Charlotte now. It's a thing. So, they started booing her, and that distracted Carmella and Nikki Bella, and eventually they got outside the ring, and they start, attacking Charlotte. They're trying to get the one up on her. And then you had Sasha Banks, you had Bayley, you had Nia Jax, and you had let's see who else is on Team Raw. Oh yeah, Alicia Fox, the other 4 members of Team Raw for the women's match. You had them come out, and they tried to beat up Carmella and beat up Nikki Bella. And they were, ironically enough, helping Charlotte, which was, I think, pretty good. Like, they didn't like her, but they're like, it's Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, so for now, for the sake of making our brand look good, we'll put this to the side and we'll work with you. And there was this one great moment that I just saw, and I'm like, okay, I want more of this. I don't care what you have to do to give me more of this. But you had Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte, and all 3 of them on Carmella and Nikki Bella were just beating them up, beating her up, and beating both of them up. And it was just epic. You had 3 of the 4 horsewomen working together. This unofficial stable of friendship behind the scenes that has been Becky Lynch, Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks. The 4 horsewomen. You had 3 of them. Becky Lynch is on SmackDown, so she wasn't with them. She was against them. But other than that, you had 3 of the 4 horsewomen working together on the same page, in the same ring, beating somebody up. And I'm just like, yes, give me more of this. Yes. I was putting up the 4 fingers. I was like, okay, give me more of this, I want to see this. Like, I want to see them work together. I want Becky Lynch to go to Raw, and I want to see her work with them. I want to see the Four Horsewomen become an on-screen stable. Because everybody knows that they're all besties backstage, even if, like, on-screen they're all hating on each other. There's, like, this undeniable partnership, this friendship. All four of them went up together. They were in NXT. They worked through NXT together. And they went up the ranks as a unit. They fought each other. They teamed up with each other. They fought each other. They teamed up with each other. It was every step of the way, it was the four of them. And people want to see those four work together on screen. And I would be all for making that an official thing. So, here's hoping. But as Team Raw was just beating up and beating up and beating up on Carmella and Nikki Bella, then you had Natalya come out, and Becky Lynch come out, and Naomi came out, and Alexa Bliss came out. And they started trying to help out Nikki Bella and Carmella. And ultimately, Nia freaking Jax, she starts going ham, as they say, going hard as a mofo. And she freaking throws people around. She bashes people into, like, the turnbuckles. She's squashing people with the thighs of her. And she is just going hard. Just absolutely destroying everything and everyone in sight. It was ridiculous. Then, of course, you had her try to spear somebody through the barricade, like through the little barrier between the fans and, the crowd and the wrestlers. He spears somebody through that, except whoever it was, I think it was Nikki she was trying to do it to. But Nikki moved, and she ends up taking herself out, and that means that Team SmackDown starts coming back, and they clear the ring, and then Naomi does this jump over the ropes, takes out all of them, and Team SmackDown's women division stands in the ring with each other's arms held high, celebrating the fact that they just basically defended themselves, against Team Raw. So that was great. It was a great build-up, and honestly, it made me want to see more of these women. Because right now, you have one of the most legit women's divisions in professional wrestling history. And it could only get better from here. Because in NXT, you have people like Ember Moon. You have people like Asuka. You have people like Billie Kay. People like Peyton Royce. And there's rumblings that they've signed somebody from Lucha Underground because she's been spotted taking pictures with one of the other women that is in NXT. So her name is Sexy Star. And despite the cliche silly name, trust me, this girl can bite. Trust me, she is one of the most badass women in the history of professional wrestling. Just, if you don't believe me and haven't seen Sexy Star and don't know who she is, look up Sexy Star versus Mariposa No Mas match. And you'll see everything you need to see as far as how badass this woman is. Now, maybe she's just friends with the girl that she took a picture with. Maybe there is no signing. I'm just saying. I saw this earlier today, and if they signed her, if they managed to get Sexy Star on their roster, even if they don't call her Sexy Star, call her something else. Use her real name if you have to. But if they have her on their roster, on top of who they already have, well, game over. Literally, game over. You will have the most epic women's division that has ever been seen. This is about to get so epic. And I really love that this match, and lately Raw and SmackDown have both been doing a pretty solid job of showing that great women's division. And NXT has been doing the same thing. I honestly think we are headed for a great time to be a wrestling fan, and especially to be a fan of women's professional wrestling. This is going to be great. So after you had Nikki Bella and Carmella, you had another segment later where it was Alexa Bliss, and she was talking to the general manager, Daniel Bryan, about the fact that last week, in her title match against Becky Lynch, she basically, she lost, but Alexa had her foot on the rope. So Alexa's arguing that it shouldn't have counted, that the ref should have continued the match, and she argues that if it had continued, that she thinks she had Becky exactly where she needed her, that she would be the women's champion right now. But Daniel Bryan says, okay, you're gonna get your rematch, and she's like, okay, yeah, but when? When am I getting it? And just at that point, a whistle goes off, and Natalya comes up, and she's like, okay, I get it, you're mad, but you need to focus on Team Raw right now. You need to focus on Survivor Series, because Natalya's the coach right now. And she's basically saying that she had this really weird quote that, yes, I know the song it came from, but I just thought it was really corny and weird that she said it. She said, look, Alexa, in life, you're gonna get knocked down, but you get up again, and nobody's ever gonna keep you down. And Alexa just looks at her like, really? We're quoting Chumbawamba now? Literally a freaking 80s song by a band called Chumbawamba? And then she just kind of rolls her eyes, throws her hands in the air, which, at that point, I was kind of doing the same thing. I was like, oh, come on, really? This is getting ridiculous. Aretha Franklin, freaking, Whitney Houston, and now she's gonna freaking quote, like, Chumbawamba. What's next? She's gonna start quoting the Backstreet Boys? Like, seriously, this is getting a little ridiculous here. Natalya's this great wrestler, and yet you're just doing these freaking catchphrases and these song references that 90% of your child audience isn't going to get it. And frankly, even the people that do get it aren't finding it funny. I don't think. So, that really annoyed me. But, Natalia's that good a wrestler that ultimately she'll manage to make it work somehow. I mean, for heaven's sake, her uncle is Bret the Hitman Hart, of all people. She can make a dumb gimmick work. I know that. I just wish she didn't get stuck with one to begin with. So next up, we had a 16-man tag team match, where American Alpha, the Usos, the Hype Bros, and Breezango, Tyler Breeze, and Fandango faced off against the Headbangers, the Ascension, the Vaudevillains, and Headbangers, Vaudevillains, the Ascension, and I don't remember who else. Oh yeah, the Spirit Squad. Took me a while. So, Spirit Squad, Ascension, Headbangers, and Vaudevillains versus American Alpha, Breezango, the Usos, and Hype Bros in a 16-man tag team match. Great match, a few good spots, like American Alpha, they showed off their technical ability, The Hype Bros showed off their charisma and, got the fans hyped. Rhino and Heath Slater were in the corner of their Survivor Series teammates, and they were cheering them on and being funny. And the Usos did some high-flying, moves. So it worked pretty well, like these different styles clashing together. The other teams on the other side were pretty much just there to take the pinfall. But there was this really cool spot that freaking all the teams of that the Team SmackDown was facing on the other side, they were outside the ring, and freaking the Usos, they dove right out of the ring onto their opponents and just wiped everybody out. And then one managed to get in the ring. American Alpha caught him. Grand Altitude 1, 2, 3. Team SmackDown wins. And after that match, later we had a segment where basically Heath Slater and Rhino were saying, like, okay, great match, but we need to get hyped now. We need to get ready for Survivor Series. We need to get focused on this. And they said they brought a motivational speaker, to get those boys hyped. And I gotta admit, it was really funny what they did. Booker T, or should I say, King Booker, freaking comes out. And he's got the old robe. He's got, like, the scepter. He's got the crown. He's got, like, this royal scroll. It's 2006 all over freaking again. And I'm already laughing before he's even said a word. This guy hasn't even said a word, and I'm already laughing at him. I'm already like, yes, this is epic. And he starts saying, look, I've been told that basically I'm supposed to tell you the importance of this match and how big a deal this is. So, before he even really gets to speak, Breezango, Tyler Breeze, and Fandango, they come out, and they're like, they're fashion police now, for some reason. A lot better than what I thought they were going to be. But they are fashion police, and they basically say that every team on Team SmackDown except for them has committed fashion fraud, and King Booker has too. And they hold up these uniforms that they want to be like the banner for Team SmackDown. And they're basically like old school, like, frilly. They remind me of, like, composer clothes that, like, the old composers like Beethoven and stuff like that would wear. And Booker just takes one look at that, and he's like, tell me you didn't say that. Tell me you did not just say that. You want to win, you gotta dress like a champion, not some Pirates of the Caribbean reject. Blows his nose in the shirt, and throws it back at Fandango. And he's like, now can you dig that, sucker? And they start going off in a huff. And the other team members are just like, oh, hey, King, Booker. And I'm just like, yes, this is awesome. This is epic. I love every second of this. And then, right after that, we close out the night with the best segment and the best part of the whole show. The cutting edge segment. Oh my god. As soon as freaking Metalingus hit, as soon as that music hit, I'm done. I'm like, yes, Edge is back. He comes out, and Tony Chimmel is there to take the place of the ring announcer. And Tony Chimmel, like, just was the piece on top of the cake for this. So Edge comes out and he's got the smoke. He's got the fireworks. He puts up this symbol above his head. Like this. He puts his like that kind of thing. And he just, the fireworks go off as he's doing this. With his arms raised and his rock symbols in the air. And he runs down the ramp. He gets in the ring. He grabs the mic. And the crowd is just out of their minds. As soon as he gets to the ring, Tony Chimmel announces him the rated R superstar, Edge. And Edge starts talking about how it's no secret that he bleeds blue. That SmackDown has always been home to him. He starts talking about how he's very, very much got a vested interest in Team SmackDown versus Team Raw for Survivor Series. And he's got this interest in him. And that's why he wanted to bring the cutting edge back for the 900th episode of SmackDown in front of the fans to interview Team SmackDown. And they bring everybody out. They bring AJ Styles, Shane McMahon. They bring Bray Wyatt. They bring out Randy Orton. They bring out James Ellsworth of all people. AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, the whole lot of them. Everybody's there. Every member of Team SmackDown is there. And Edge starts talking about how, that SmackDown is the land of opportunity. And lately he's seen one man who has represented that, and that he would like to shake that man's hand. AJ Styles steps forward, extends his hand, being smug, thinking that Edge is talking about him. And then Edge just completely bypasses Styles, makes him look like an idiot, and then shakes, of all people, James Ellsworth's hand. And I'm just like, okay, this guy has gotten a WWE Championship match, outsold Goldberg in t-shirts one week. He was in a freaking segment against AJ Styles multiple times. And now he's getting the rub from freaking Edge. What in the actual hell is going on here? Then AJ Styles, of course, gets offended by this. And he's like, this guy doesn't mean anything. He's just some scrawny nobody. I'm the face that runs this place. How about you ask a question to somebody that matters? Of course, AJ's talking about himself. But Edge just like, well, okay, I will, Randy. And turns to Randy Orton. Again, taking off AJ Styles. And Randy Orton just kind of looks at him, doesn't say a word. Never did say a word. And basically, he says, Edge says to him, like, we were down the road together a lot. We were even a tag team together, rated RKO for one point. And I've known you for many years. And now you've gone from the Viper to a member of the Wyatt family. He's just like, giving this look like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. So, he didn't really understand it. So, then Bray Wyatt cuts him off. And he's like, the Randy that you knew is dead. But this one, the one that is now aligned with my family, is more dangerous than anything you've ever seen before. And at Survivor Series, you are going to see that. And that's as much as they say on that regard. And then Shane McMahon gets asked the question of basically like, are you sure about this? And he's like, you know what, yeah, I am. I'm leading by example. SmackDown is the land of opportunity, and we are the money show. And then he turns to AJ Styles. And by the way, this is my show, and from now on you may be working on, I hate to say this pun, but Shane O'Mackdown. And I'm like, forced, but funny. And then it happened. The other thing that they had been promoting for SmackDown for this week. They showed little glimpses of his hat, his arm, little glimpses here and there, but you never saw his face. You never saw him. And then, as this rated cutting edge segment was going on, the lights go out. The gong hits. And it happens. The fog lifts. The whole arena turns blue. And out steps the Deadman, the Phenom, Big Evil. The Undertaker returns. And everyone is just going off their heads. I'm completely silent, just staring and just smiling ear to ear because I'm a huge Undertaker fan. Like, I am the biggest Taker fan there is. I question anybody that says that they're a bigger fan than me. So, The Undertaker comes out, and they just took their time with this. They let him do the whole entrance, and I'm pretty much mimicking the whole time. Literally, as soon as he comes out, I'm literally just like, literally, just like this. And I'm like, putting my arms up. And I'm just like, if I had the strength in my face to freaking roll my eyes back, I would have done that too. I was pumped. And Taker comes back and he says, okay, look, I'm out here for 2 reasons. Number 1 is because WrestleMania will no longer be what defines who The Undertaker is. Which, to me, I might have been wrong, but to me what that means is that he's not going to let WrestleMania define who he is, because that's not going to be the only show he competes at anymore. I think he's going to take on a heavier schedule, which at his age, I don't really know how smart it is, but, when he actually steps in the ring, let's face it, my brain's not going to be thinking of that. I'm just going to be like, oh my god, it's Taker, and that's it. Like, fanboy mode is going to kick in. It always does with Taker. I can analyze, and I can critique, and I can question how smart it is at his age, and blah, 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 blah. But the second he steps in the ring, I'm not going to think about any of that. I'm just going to be a fan, and I'm just going to be like, okay, The Undertaker is in the building, he's back. This is awesome. And he says, okay, number 1, WrestleMania will not define who The Undertaker is. Number 2, I'm basically here to tell you guys that, okay, you don't have to fear failure, but Survivor Series is where Undertaker was born, and SmackDown has always been home to me. So if you go into Survivor Series where I was created, and go into that representing my home, representing my brand, you don't have to fear failure. But if you do fail, you gotta fear the Deadman. And at Survivor Series, he says that Team Raw had better rest in peace. Then the segment just cuts, and that is how SmackDown ends for the week. Maybe it's just the fact that I saw Edge, King Booker, and the freaking Undertaker on this show. Maybe I'm biased because of that. This was a 5-star match. This was a 5-star freaking show for me. I'm in. I'm looking forward to Survivor Series. I hope all of you are too. I hope that you are looking forward to Survivor Series and that you have enjoyed my review of this week's SmackDown. If you haven't already, please go check out my review of Monday Night Raw I posted last night. And stay tuned tomorrow for my review of NXT. And the following day, I will be doing a preview of both NXT TakeOver Toronto and for WWE Survivor Series. I'll be running through the match cards for both shows and giving my preview, my thoughts, and my predictions on the matches for both shows. Until then, this is Jonathon the Hot Wheels Pitman saying so long for now from the pit.